Hello guys, and welcome to a new Steel Division 2 video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 1 versus 1 on Krupa, and I'm going to be playing with the 12th SS Panzer with the Maverick deployment type. Going to be up against Sir Daniels in this one, who's playing with the 26th Guards Rifles with the balanced deployment type. So this is game 1 of 2 games that are going to be playing against Sir Daniels in the Steel Division League, Season 10, Division 2. And we're off. So let me take you through what I've got down here. So we've got the MG42 on the left with the Panzer. We've got a 20mm half track with a 20mm behind it. We've got the SBW 233, couple Panzergrens, and the Panzergren Führer, Sturm Pioneer, and a Pak 40 to cover this road onto the bridge on the left hand side. A couple of MG42s for the mid with a 233 and an Aufklärer. And then on the right hand side going to be the MG42s with the Pak 40, Panzergrens, SBW 233. So my plan was in this game to pretty much play relatively carefully in the early game, and then in phase B we're going to bring in the Wurfrahmen and I'm going to make a big old push with the 12th SS. That was pretty much my entire game plan going into this one. In terms of picks and bans, you can check out the bans in the description if you want to check that out. But he actually first picked the 26th Rifles, and then I picked the 12th SS Maverick into it because I accidentally left the 26th Guards up. I didn't actually mean to do that. I just forgot to ban it. So he ended up playing it, and we're going to be going up against it today. So I'm going to be unloading my MG42 early here to get rid of his PTRS, stopping getting across the bridge here. He's going to be dropping some smoke, but that's not going to cover it in time. 233 was also there to catch out any transports, but things are pretty chill at the start. He is playing balance, so he's perfectly okay with it being chill as well. This map does definitely favour balanced, but I figured that if I could pull it off with the Wurfrahmen, then my phase B could be really strong, or like my phase B into phase C. So we just got to clear out any units that did get across. I saw the PTRS here, so just advancing on that with my fanatical Panzergrens. On the left side here though, not having a great time as two Stargavadia start hitting me, and the 45mm going to be shooting me early on. I know he's got a commander in because that's a 3-vet unit, and he won't be 2-vetting his 45mm guns. Anyway, my 233 is going to come across here, and I'm going to be trying to get some shots onto that to try and take it out. My flak's also moving up here. I was planning to use this to help with the Guards DP. I'm trying to get the last shot off there, take out the 45. This is what the 233s are really good for. So taking that out, really good start. Panzergren's going to be trying to trade with the Guards DP. 2-vet versus 2-vet. I've got MG42s, so I should pin him down faster and be able to win those engagements. I'm going to be bringing up even more Panzergrens, because if I can continue to just go up against his guards like this, I should be okay. He's going to be bringing up a T-34 there. Got to be a little bit careful about that. But at the moment, again, just chilling out. And any good trades for me in the early game is going to really assist in my phase B push. Pak 40, meanwhile, can cover the road for me. This is a really nice position, by the way, on Krupa. This tree line here is going to cover the road all the way across the bridge to the other side. Now, this is one thing that I do want to avoid throughout the game, is the double teams. Getting shot by 2 squads onto 1 squad of Panzergrens is not what I want. But the reason that that's happening right now is because I'm making a little play in the middle. I'm trying to get my MG42s forwards so that I can kill his probably limited center forces. So my MG42 is trying to kill his guards. I brought up a mortar carrier early on as well to help try and take out the 45mm gun, and I think I did manage to do so. So we're going to be focusing with this mortar to try and take care of these guards units, and maybe the SG43 as well, and then my Panzergren here can apply influence over this flag early on and get me an early 1311, which will be the precursor to my phase B push, in that I'll already have a little bit of a lead, and then I can find a 15-9 in phase B and win that way. So flak going to be taken out by the T-34 that is grouped forwards in the light cover there. He's going to be backing it off, but losing that 20mm AA early on is actually pretty bad because it opens up potential Yak bombing strikes from the 26th, which is something that they can use a lot. But you can see my 81mm mortar has managed to push out the guards there from the windmill. Now I'm going to be targeting this building where we saw the other guards or where I assumed that they would be hanging out. And if I can just pin them down, make them fall back, then my MG42 comes forwards and just demolishes them in the open, and there's almost nothing that he can do about that unless he gets in an ISU or some tanks to cover this area. But then what I can do is bring in my own like Pack 40s or whatever in order to fight back against that, and that would be really, really awkward for him to do. The reason that I know that this is really awkward to defend is because many times I've been on the other side of the map, and bringing up units up this reinforcement road when it's covered by this tree line and this tree line is really, really difficult to get back in here if you lose it. So I was trying to use that to my advantage to try and push him out of here early on and then keep him out of there for the rest of the game, so that I was always ticking him down from very early on. Going to be bringing up a griller on the left hand side that's going to be trying to cover the town from this side. You can see you can get some pretty good line of sight into these buildings in order to put pressure on there before phase B. And I've also brought up the griller on this side, like in the mid, so that I can hit his guards and put damage down onto this flag. And you can see the guards there getting caught out by the 2-star MG42. So I am bringing in, I think, 2 cards of these with 2 vet, just because they're really, really strong. And that means I only need the leader nearby to make these 3 vet. And 3 vet MG42 squads, nasty. So this is exactly why I kind of need the griller to maybe try and take out the SG and stuff in this example. I can like move it over here, for example, and then we kind of fire position that. That would be great, but again, since I'm focusing a lot on the center right now, I am letting things get caught out in the open on the left, which is obviously not good. But strong mortar strike is going to assist in taking this flag, and we're at a 13-11, which is a good start in a Maverick balanced matchup. I'm also hoping to pick off this 45mm gun. If I can get rid of that before it gets in cover, that would be very helpful. And then I can focus on taking down the SG. You can see I finally fell this back. Now the Pack 40 going to be getting shots onto the SG. Panzer also coming forwards there to get shots on target. So now I've just got to get rid of the SG in this building. But what is that on the horizon? It is an ISU 152, so that's going to certainly be difficult for me to deal with, especially with the units that I currently have. But he needs to get infantry up here, and he doesn't want to put his ISU right here, otherwise it's very vulnerable to getting killed. So he's going to be trying to use that at a distance and fire position any units that he can get his line of sight on. Meanwhile on the left, again attack moving forwards, the Panzer here, and forgetting about them does mean that they just take an absolute ton of damage. I'm going to eventually spot that and fall them back, but just a little bit too late. They're going to end up going down. Here comes my first plane, Focke-Wulf 190 G3. These Focke-Wulfs are really nice because they have a really good payload, but their resilience is bad. So they're not as good as F8s, but in this case, still going to be able to get the bombs off. Still going to be able to take out the guard squad, which is good. Just start chipping down the defenses on this left side, because this was where I was thinking of attacking the most. You know, it's the most concentrated area that he has to defend, and there are quite obvious places for me to put Wurfrahmen strikes. And if I can get across into this town, then we can easily put pressure onto this flag, potentially this flag, and that's 3 flags when I've already got the middle flag. So that would be what, 16 flags in my favor, which would be really, really good. So that was the whole idea, and I'm just trying to chip things down. Meanwhile, this is out of mortar ammunition, so I'm going to be bringing that over to the left side, ready to bring in a supply truck to give me more ammunition. But otherwise, things pretty chill across the front. Again, Sir Daniels is not going to mind at all me not being aggressive in phase A. Taking this flag and getting his tickets down a little bit was really all my plan for the early game as well. The trouble is, of course, that he is now putting a little bit of pressure across the bridge here and securing this flag. And my Sturm Pioneer can't really come out to play there because it will get killed. Meanwhile, P2 coming over in the center. I did already have a mobile wagon placed there just in case he wanted to yak bomb my MG42s. So Panzer IV now coming up to help defend the road as well. 233s on the way, a Panther D on the way, and we're 40 seconds from phase B. So the Panther being up on the hill is going to be here to stop the T-34s from providing fire support, because you might have noticed that my Grille is not here because it got taken out by the T-34 in the light cover down here. It obviously got spotted by some sort of recon or infantry. Grille is quite easy to spot. Panzergrenz did move forwards into this building just to try and put pressure on the flags there temporarily, but can't stay there under that much fire. So yeah, 233 is in position, Panther D. You can see I'm really just preparing to bring in the Wurfrahmen and get this party started. That was the idea. Grille currently just sitting in cover, Panzergrenz just chilling. He did bring in both the IS-1 and ISU-152 in the mid, which was good for me because these are two quite decent assets, and it's quite a lot of points investment, particularly with the Su-85, that will not be placed on the left-hand side when I go for the push. So I was relatively happy about this being the case. I am going to bring up a Panther D because I was convinced that I might be able to chip some of these anyway. In hindsight, this might not have been the best idea because having the extra points invested to a push on the left would have probably been more beneficial, and he would have had to react and go to the left anyway with these units on the map. Here, my MG42, I'm preemptively falling that back because the ISU was aiming. It looks like he's trying to fire position my Panzergrenz right now there to take back that middle flag. And you can see how awkward it is for Sir Daniels to stop me capturing this now that I've pushed him out of there. So that was a good play early on. And we're off to a really good start in this match. Grille now getting into position as well. Some HE fire support across the bridge is always handy. And yeah, now we're in phase B. Time for the Wurfrahmen to arrive. So, Wurfrahmen are 140 points pop, and the idea is to just smash the defensive town areas so I can push across with my Panzergrenz. Admittedly, I don't have many Panzergrenz yet, but when we're getting our phase B income in, we'll start accelerating ahead of Sir Daniels in terms of total units on the map. My Panther here, I think, managed to find a shot onto the ISU. We managed to damage that quite significantly with the penetration, and that's going to force him to fall back with those units and stop harassing the Panzergrenz. So that Panther D was an okay investment in the end, in that it allowed me to hold this flag for a little bit longer, and we're still bleeding him tickets. But we really need to accelerate this. Now we're in phase B. I've got probably until about 25 minutes into the game to make something substantial happen and sit on a 15-9 or a 16-8. So it was pretty tense, for sure, because it really comes down to this. You know, the Wurfrahmen, double Wurfrahmen. I did actually have 4 Wurframens on the deck. So the plan was to just use overwhelming firepower in the rockets to break open a big hole in the front line, and the longer that phase B goes, the more points I'm going to have and the stronger this push is going to be. So again, bringing in Panzergrenführer just to sit further up. I wanted to leave one further back so that I can potentially use it with AA and stuff. But now Sir Daniels, this kind of caught me off guard. He made a phase B push. As a balanced player, I was surprised to see him go for this, because Maverick is the strongest phase for... or phase B is the strongest phase for Maverick. Now this was odd. Look at my Sturm Pioneers dying here without actually being able to see what's firing at them. That was very, very weird. But either way, they get killed off. I think he fire positioned the building with the HE. That's what he did in order to kill that through the smoke, which was pretty smart, to be honest. So my unit wasn't able to fire back. But MG42 going to hold off some guards at least. Panzergrenz are getting shots on target, going to be able to move up the 222. But yeah, this is a little bit awkward for me because I don't want to waste my Wurfrahmen on hitting this infantry. We want to use it offensively. I can't run into guards and stuffs because they do have PTRDs. So the SBW-222 doesn't have enough armor to withstand that. Against the 2-man squad, I might be able to kill it before it kills me, so I do kind of stick around at least for that. And if I can get rid of one of those PTRDs, they're going to be a lot less effective. Bringing up some Pioneers. The Pioneers were intended to just go in here and clone out the close range infantry that we'd come up against so far. But incoming artillery, it is the Andrusha, probably one of the scariest units in the 26th Panzer, honestly. First 2 rockets, straight on target of the Panzer IV. Kind of unlucky for me, I would say, because he didn't even have to use the entire salvo. He fired like 6 rockets from it, and he managed to get a kill onto the Panzer IV with the first 2 rockets. Yeah, I wasn't happy about that, let's just put it that way. But my bad for having these clumped up. The Gorilla's also going to die, by the way, because it burns to death in the rocket napalm. So he got 2 kills out of 6 rockets from an Andrusha, and I get transport sniped there. So things are not so great now, because that's 2, I would say, relatively key parts of any push across this bridge, like being able to fire position these buildings with the HE, having the Panzer IV be there with the infantry to help support. You know, I did just bring up a bunch of Panzergrens that were going to assist the Wurfrahmen push, but he has just delayed it at the moment, which is not ideal, and he's managed to get quite a decent chunk of kills out of that Andrusha to no reply, honestly, at all. So Pioneer's now coming in. This T-34 in a bit of an awkward position for me. I couldn't get shots on with the Panther from up on the ridge, so it's providing good fire support from down here, and with the Panzer IV dead, I don't have anything that can shoot across, so he's able to move quite aggressively in this light cover. But here come the next shots from the Andrusha. He's going to be targeting my mortar. This time around, the rockets are going to be landing very close. Would have hit my 81mm if I hadn't started reversing it. Does still take out the supply truck. But yeah, not ideal. Taking out the supply does mean that my 81mm mortar not going to be able to really support the push with the Panzer, or with the Falchion, not Falchion Pioneers, just normal Pioneers into this area. You can see that I'm using the similar trick that he used on me here to throw the HE out of line of sight, and that's going to force back a Sturmoviki there. Then I'm just going to 2v1 the next Sturmoviki. And I do have the 2 vets, so we are going to be able to get the shots off in time. And here's Sturmoviki now going to be running across the open, whilst I'm able to gun them down with the Pioneers here and the Panzergrens. Meanwhile, Panzergrens on the right, hoping to get the pin onto the Strafs, don't manage to do so just in time. Bit unfortunate, but at least I've managed to reclaim this forest area, and that's going to allow me to retake the flag. In the mid, we're still controlling this flag, so it wasn't like I was bleeding tickets at this point, so it wasn't the end of the world. But that was a solid, 6 minutes where he wasn't ticking down, and as the Maverick player against the balance, we are going to want to maintain that. So now I'm looking for the Wurfrahmen strike. We're going to be trying to Wurfrahmen his T-34, and my second Wurfrahmen we're going to probably plant on this T-34. The SBW-233 takes out the guard unit that was helping cap the flag. So I'm going to be able to move up my Panzergrens. But here comes the rockets. Looking for that T-34 kill. In the mid, I trade the Panther for one of the ISU-152s. But he got a second one in, so wasn't ideal. He gets 3 of those at 1 vet. In Phase B, I believe. So I was okay with that trade, but it does mean that I don't have the Panther to stop his armor from moving forwards. Anyway, here comes the rocket strike. It lands actually pretty well. Takes out the SG. Guards die. And now I'm going to make the play with the Panzergrens and the recon vehicles. So I've got the 233s and the 222s making the push. We're going to try and get the 233 across here, and I am going to be successful in doing so. But he's already started to reinforce himself with his upgraded tanks, and we are going to get the 1410 by holding on to this flag right now, but my mortar's got some work to do. You can see it's going to be firing at the SG-43. I'm going to be trying to break that down. Going to be targeting the 45mm, but the KV-1Ss coming around the corner here are going to be a bad time for my recon vehicles. I'm moving up the Panther D to try and take care of the T-34 if that comes forwards, but unfortunately my infantry is a little bit lacking right now, and that is going to bite me. 233 still goes down to the T-34. I do have a Panther G coming up to sit in this position so that his T-34s can't do that anymore. But just as I capture across the bridge, the point here has now been captured for Sir Daniels. So he is holding me back, and we're getting towards the end of Phase B. Now I realised that he'd massively reinforced on the left-hand side here at this point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my focus to the right-hand side. And what I've done is I've set up two Wurfrahmen. I've got the Panzergrens coming in, the Ihantala, and the 233. So recon vehicles and Panzergrens, they're going to be rushing behind a Wurfrahmen strike on the right-hand side. Do manage to get my Panther to take out the T-34 here. 233, unfortunately, not doing great here. I am going to get my 233 here as close as possible to hit the T-34, but it misses at like point-blank range. It was really sad. A bit unlucky. I mean, these only have base accuracy of like 35%, but at that range, I was hoping it could at least hit its 70% shot or whatever it was. Now, 233 is going to rush across first, just so that I get my targets, and then we're going to unleash the Wurfrahmen. Now, ideally, what I probably should have done is had these two Wurfrahmen move to the right-hand side rather than investing another 280 points into Wurfrahmen. Because that is, two less Panthers at the end of the day. So 233, once again, they're failing me pretty hard. In the front armor, yeah, there's not much of a chance of penetration, but it's still worth having a go. The first time round, I was trying to aim for his side armor, so it was a real shame that I didn't hit, because it probably would have killed him. Panzergren here did manage to get across, but unfortunately killed off, and my left side push is completely done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift my Panthers to the mid. We're going to start making this play on the right-hand side as the Wurfrahmen strike comes down. And there is this Su-85 back here, but I'm hoping at least to get into the town and we'll capture this flag. So now I'm thinking if I capture this flag, I capture this flag, and I capture this flag, then maybe I can get some work done. Or I can capture this flag, and then the middle flag. And this breakthrough on the right side here seemed to go pretty well. Now I managed to get Panzergrens deep into this town area. My 222s are going to be helping take out this bloody Komroti. Ihantala are in position as well, so I got plenty of recon on what's coming my way. And we're going to capture the two flags on that right-hand side. So this play worked out really, really well. And I don't think Sir Daniels was really ready for it, which was good. I was very happy about that. But of course, moving the Panthers away here is going to leave my left side vulnerable. But I'm just going to still make the play on this left side. CIABG in that building did get there in time. He does have some more infantry on the way from this main road, but here come a couple of Panther Gs to back up this push. Now these, I was obviously sitting on enough points to bring in two at the same time. I'm just really not used to playing on Maverick income. I'm still getting used to it. So I bring in two Panthers at the same time, and they probably should have already been here coming across the bridge with the rest of the units, because this way I would have been able to engage the Su-85s, that Su-85 that was sitting up on top of the hill in particular, which would have allowed more freedom of my infantry to push onto this flag. So either way, I'm going to be trying to use my 222 to sneak shots onto the Su-85. If I can pin it down, it might work, but in this case, just getting caught out. Now, Wurfrahmen strike being kind of wasted on this tree line because my infantry had already killed the units that were in there. I do still have another Wurfrahmen strike ready to kind of help defend, but meanwhile on the right, bombing strike going to be coming in. Focke-Wulf 190 looking for the bombing strike onto the guards. These were very clumped up, so I was really hoping this Focke-Wulf would get through, but unfortunately he had his M17 in position, and it's going to stop me in my tracks and doesn't allow me to get what would have been an incredibly good bombing strike. But the Panther G is now going to be engaging the Su-85. That Su-85 can't fire back because it's out of range. Panthers, though, really failing on these shots. Do eventually get it, though. Panzergrens managed to get off a burst of the MG42s, and we take out the infantry of their transport, which was nice. But now, getting pushed out of this town, not ideal. As long as I can hold on to this flag, I can still make plays around the middle flag, and we can potentially make plays on the left. But this is the point where things are going to get really difficult in this game, because he's playing balanced, I'm playing Maverick, and about 5 minutes into Phase B is where things can really start to get difficult, and I haven't really traded too well so far. So I am going to be able to at least get a transport sniper up there. That wasn't too bad. We've killed the Su-85. I just need some more infantry and stuff that can push through here. And this was where, like, the investment into the double Wurfrahmen that I could have just moved over from the left side was a little bit wasted. Because if I had, like, another 280 points of infantry and tanks pushing here, this would have been very, very different. Unfortunately, my recovery on this left-hand side gets interrupted by the Andalusia that comes in and hits the Panther that was trying to cover the bridge. It unloads both of my Panzergrens and stops them getting up into these buildings, so that was a real tempo loss for me there. And we're back to 12 to 12, 25 minutes into the game. Not a position that you want to be in as a Maverick player. Now IS-1 going to be coming out of the woodwork, and we aren't going to be able to get a shot onto that. But unfortunately, it's followed up by Su-85s. My second Panther here, it's in line with the Pak-40, so as he comes out to fight me, I'm trying to get shots on target, but the Panther misses the shot onto the Su-85 that would have killed it. And unfortunately, that means death for the Panther G. And my Pak-40 missed every shot, so rip. Unfortunately, I was not having fun with RNGs this game, I can tell you that much. And it was actually quite frustrating. I was maybe having a little bit of an attack power moment when when RNG was stinging me in this game, particularly this late on when, like, it was important to not have RNG fuck me like that. But alas, it is the way of the game, and Sir Daniels did a good job of putting a lot of pressure on me early on. The phase B push in here was really sneaky, and completely, like, took away my potential ticket bleed on him that would have made this sort of push on the right hand side that much more severe. But in this case right now, he's got the 1311, he's successfully pushed across with the Strafniki and his guards on the left. This kind of just fell apart. My Wurframens couldn't really help hold this. My Panther G was pushed out of position, the Panzergrens couldn't get into the buildings, and you can see that things are really starting to fall apart across the game right now. If I can get things back to a 12-12, then it's not too bad. And what I was thinking was Krupa is a slow map. It is a slow map. It's hard to push even if you're balanced. So my idea was to get the next Wurfrahmen strikes to clear out his sort of beachhead and bridgehead and take back these two flags. If I can sit on a 12-12 from that point forwards, it will take him a while to get back across the bridge regardless. So that would leave things with time on the clock to potentially win the game. Meanwhile, I am still putting pressure on the right hand side. I still am across the bridge. I've got a Panther G that's coming in to deal with the ISU-152, and with all of the units that shifted from the mid to the right hand side, there will be potential for me to maybe take back the mid flag at some point. But of course I am focused on very much on microing the left and right sides of the map at the moment. It's a nice armor crack there. KV-1E goes down to the Pak-40. Finally managed to get a shot from a Pak-40 on target, even though it was really stressed. You know what I really need to do? I need to make sure that all of my units are incredibly stressed, and then maybe they'll get a hit. But anyway, Panzergrens moving into the heavy cover here to clear out the Strafs. Actually did a really good job. Like, my veterancy in this game was helping me out a lot, and was something that I think I made use of relatively well. Unfortunately, on the right hand side, it's time for the IL-237 to come in and absolutely make me hate my life, as it takes out a Panther G and a Wurfrahmen thanks to the P2 recon that spotted both of those units. So easy kills for the 37 because there's no AA here, and he figured that one out. My mobile wagon going to be shifting that over to the right hand side to provide that AA, but meanwhile on the left, KV-85 is going to be able to help take out the Panzer IV. I think actually it might have been the mortar or something that killed that. Regardless, here come the Wurfrahmen. This was my attempt at taking back the left-hand side. And yes, losing the Panther G here sucks. Losing my Wurfrahmen sucks. Especially considering the Wurfrahmen hadn't fired a second time. But I'm still hopeful that maybe I can hold on a little bit here. This IS-1 had already been hit. It's very severely damaged, but a Wurfrahmen rocket did not land on target. So that didn't end up going down. The 222 going to be engaging the Slutsk here and force them off at least. Panzergren, one Panzergren trying to hold against the Slutsk. That didn't work. Now the Wurfrahmen's trying to clean out some of this armor. And yeah, if I can clean out the infantry here, then that'll work out nicely. My Pioneers, I'm moving them purposefully quite deep on this side, not in the light cover, so I'm not revealing myself to stuff on the other side here. Now I managed to take out the OT. The KV-85 actually doesn't go down, so that's just going to be falling back. But this Wurfrahmen will be firing soon. Meanwhile on the right, still kind of somewhat holding position, but now the off-map coming in. And meanwhile in the center, I could have done this so much sooner. Just fire positioned behind this building to open that up for a flag cap. So things only 13 to 11. You can see like how difficult it is to push. Like even though he's balanced, like taking flags on this map is an absolute nightmare. But of course, you can see from my perspective, there's not really much left. It's just getting to a point where I'm just trying to hold on so that I can take back flags, and I know that his infantry is limited, so if I can just keep whittling down infantry and like using the Wurfrahmen to my advantage throughout the rest of the game, then it's good. It's really good for me. But the 20 mil going down here is unlucky because the IL-2 comes in for the bombing strike, and that's going to take out the Pioneer. Well, it's not really unlucky because obviously, you know, they killed it. I don't want to blame this on luck too much. This was actually a pretty nice strike. Looking for the T-34 kills here. I say it was a nice strike. I didn't actually kill the T-34s that were there because the rockets completely whiffed again, but it was well placed, it just didn't pay off. And this was kind of a problem that I had with the Wurfrahmen throughout, is in that I couldn't make my Wurfrahmen pay off. And I think the two Wurfrahmen on the right hand side, these weren't necessary. I could have just moved the ones from the left to the right and then had a huge push coming through here, which would have been the perfect timing on the Maverick play. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate. Just kind of misplayed it and couldn't quite breach that right side of the map, which almost worked. It very much almost worked. And I think picking Maverick, some people might question, you know, why did you pick Maverick on Krupa? But personally, I think my plan was solid. I really do. I just didn't play it right, and Sir Daniels also made some good plays. So it was unfortunate. It was very unfortunate. Gulet takes out the SG-43 there. We also saw the Strafs get forced off from this flag as well. So I'm still playing around that mid. You know, I'm still holding my side of this town here on this bridge, so that's okay. 13-11. Still ahead in tickets, so as it continues to tick down, I'm still thinking there's a way for me back in here. As long as I can keep whittling down his infantry, keep playing around the flags, make sure it's a 12-12, be really annoying in the middle here, and yeah, maybe he won't be able to find enough tickets in time to win. It will be very close if I can stop the bleeding now. The trouble is, as soon as his tickets are ahead of mine, there's not really going to be any way for me to get an advantage in the game. So I'm really kind of on a time limit myself here. But IL-2 going to be coming in for the strike onto the Panther. Bit unfortunate because the Mobberwagen did force off the P2, but it stayed in line of sight of the Panther that should have, in my opinion, been hidden by the big old church here, but yeah, alas, IL-2 gets another kill, and definitely dashing my hopes somewhat. I'm going to be unloading my Ihantala up on the hill here so I can see any movements across the open. And then I'm going to be getting the 222 to come down and help with the guards DP and the Strafs. The thing that's really scary about these guards DP, when they're high vet, the PTRD is actually quite reliable at killing light armor. So all of my 222s and 233s were struggling a lot throughout this game because of Sir Daniels' reliance on those units with high veterancy. And his commander at the start really did pay off quite a bit. So now, Sir Daniels, he invested a lot here to defend, and rightly so. He's going to make a counterattack that I don't really have anything to defend against. I'm still waiting on my Wurfrahmen strike to hit the left side, and I've got an AA coming up. Another Wurfrahmen's going to be hitting here. I'm still of a mind that I can take back these two flags if my 222s can start cleaning up some infantry. Because his phase C card is Avtos, and you can see that here. This was the moment where I can see his phase C card's probably Avtos. So as long as I can kill off the rest of the units that are in position here, I should be okay. My Wurfrahmen fires. I'm going to move it, of course, as soon as it fires. His Andrusha is going to try and counter-snipe that. IL-2, meanwhile, does come in. Get some good hits here on the Panther G. Panther G shows side armor. I was happy that that hadn't died. And the second one is going to be coming in. Thankfully has no line of sight because it's reversed enough. So that was okay. Meanwhile on the right, I think my Pack 40 took out an Su-85, but ends up coming under fire from the Strafs and the guards. And now we're going to be seeing the double tick for Sir Daniels. And my tickets have now gone past his. So pretty much going to come down to a last-ditch attempt to bleed his infantry on these three flags. My AA here, you can see, got pinned quite bad by the Andrusha strike that came in. Wurfrahmen was perfectly fine. He doesn't have the recon aircraft coming in this time around, so doesn't have that to save him. But T-34 going to be getting the Gülle. Mumblewagen going to try and hide. IL-2 now coming in. You might be wondering why I haven't surrendered at this point. It's basically probably because I hadn't realised the tickets had gone past. Because I'm focusing on trying to micro units rather than checking out the score. Because at this point it is just brutal. There is not much left for me to do. I can try and trade infantry all I want, but with the P2 IL-2 combos coming in, he can just free kill all of my tanks, and I can't really afford to buy AA to stop him. I was really scared that he would run through and kill the Wurfrahmens as well, so my Wurfrahmens are doing a bit of a runner. Got a couple of Ihantala on the right hand side. My Panzer IV did manage to kill one of the T-34s there. But yeah, just trying to stop the IL-2 from killing the Wurfrahmens. E2 not going to be able to be forced off in time. And my 20 mils didn't have line of sight from this position to kill the IL-2 or stop it, the IL-2. But this Wurfrahmen, it got reloaded at least, so I'm going to be able to have another chance, but no infantry to push back. Yeah, I'm dead. I'm just dead. So in terms of overall game, obviously, I've just let it get way too far now, but my initial push here, not working, that was okay. I managed to put pressure on this flag for a little bit, which was fine. But no Singy had invested so much here, and he was bringing in his reinforcements here in Phase B. Switching to the right-hand side was a good play. I just shouldn't have brought in the Wurfrahmens, the extra Wurfrahmens here. I should have just moved the Wurfrahmens from the left to the right, and then made the play with the Panthers already in position, and plus the extra, 280 points of units that I would have had there. That would have been huge. Would have been absolutely huge. I probably could have even pushed even for this flag. Because you saw how easily I managed to take this town. It's just he shifted all of the units that were defending this mid flag over to the right pretty fast, and blunted that because my Panthers weren't across the bridge soon enough. If my Panthers came across the bridge at the same time as the infantry was pushing into the town, we kill the Su-85, the Panzergrens get further up, therefore the Sturmoviki don't get into these buildings, and my Panthers are over here. And with my Panthers over here, they're at a much more effective range at dealing with the Su-85s and the IS and stuff, because they don't have as much penetration chance from here. Also, the infantry wouldn't be... well, their tanks wouldn't be here, their tanks would be back here because they'd be dealing with the infantry in this area. So the whole situation on the right would have been a lot different with extra support. But yeah, it didn't work out, obviously. And so Daniels broke down my push on the right hand side. He pushed me on the bridge in phase B, and that definitely slowed me down enough that I couldn't really make enough ground in time. I liked my idea in the mid. This worked out really well. I could have held this flag for the majority of the game. There was a long time, like maybe 15 minutes, where I didn't use the Grilla to kill the one unit that was decapping that. And that was obviously a bit of a misplay. But Sir Daniels' experience here, definitely going to win out. My poor Panzer fort fighting against an army of Soviets, and I'll be surrendering any minute now as the Panzer IV comes under fire from all of the tanks that have now come across the bridge. His push on the right hand side with the Su-85 is going to kill that Panzer IV. And yeah, time to throw in the towel. It was time to throw in the towel maybe like 10 minutes ago, but alas. I did think that there was a way in, a way back in, and maybe if I hadn't have lost so many of the Wurfrahmen to the IL-2s, there's definitely a chance that I can kill enough of his infantry, since it was quite high vet infantry, by the time the game comes to an end. You know, if I get rid of his infantry, then his tanks become way less effective, and that was kind of like my late game plan. Anyway, the mid play early on worked out really well. The 81mm mortar, Grilla, MGs, you can see they did really well cleaning this out. The Wurfrahmen did hit relatively hard. You can see this one did okay, but there was a couple of them that just didn't pay off, and those were the two basically that I was using on the right hand side. Pack 40 did really well for me here. That did help kill the IS-1 and took out some Su-85s later on. But the Panther Gs double dying on the right hand side was rough, because I didn't have any infantry AT with those Panzergrens. So that was unfortunate. But alas, yeah, his infantry did really well. Like, his early investment into the commander was really good. And on a map like Krupa, you can get away with it. So yeah, he played it well. And picking balanced was not something that I expected him to do, because Sir Daniels is quite a top player, and a lot of the top players, they still play Maverick on this deck, or on this map. So yeah, unfortunate. But that is it. Hopefully guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.